Good morning. Welcome to Garden Tour Saturday. I cannot believe it's been almost a full week since I gave you guys my introduction to my new garden. And the magic of YouTube is going to make it Saturday today. It is currently Friday and we're doing a full update tour. Before we get right into the tour, I want to give a quick thank you and acknowledgement to a whole bunch of content creators and gardening channels in the YouTube world that have continued to support my channel for many months when I was pretty much away from YouTube. First, the host of Garden Tour Saturday, Grandma Sandy, has been a supporter of my channel since I had about 100 subscribers, maybe less. She is the most amazing woman. Go check out her channel. She makes garden tours, fairy garden videos, all kinds of stuff. Such an amazing woman. And then we have Suffolk Susie in Long Island, New York, who continues to support my channel pretty much weekly. Patricia N. Cube, another star of Garden Tours Saturday. We have Barb Daly Rural Life in the rural area of Washington State, who also supports my channel all the time and is a participant of Garden Tour Saturday. And then there are some less common supporters. And then there are other supporters such as Food Forest Permaculture, CR, Creative Redundancy. There are so many channels who have continued to support my YouTube channel when I have not been posting videos and not been watching content, and I am so grateful for all of you. And that being said, let the tour begin. You guys, I have fruit trees now. I have gotten all of my fruit trees planted for this property. I did not do it alone. My parents have been coming over almost every day and helping me with a lot of home and garden projects. And although I have planted probably hundreds of things on my own, I did need some help, and they helped out with my fruit trees. I purchased them and they planted them for me. This here is a Desert King fig tree. I had one on my last, I had two on my last property, and I have two once again. There is one here, and turn the camera this way. I don't know if you can see it. There's one in the corner right over here. We'll take a closer look. There's one of my Desert Kings, and there's the second one. They were not purchased at a nursery. I bought these from a lovely gardener on Gabriola Island, and he is super into propagating trees. So that's super fun. And coming this way, we have another fruit tree. This is one I'm super excited to show you. This here is a combination pear tree from the good old Canadian Tire. Not sponsored, but one day they should sponsor me. It is a tree I have never grown before. I've never grown pears. I always wanted to try growing them, so this is my very first time, and I'll show you the varieties. This is Aju pears. What else do we have here? Combination fruit tree. Red Bartlett pears. Bartlett pear. And is that it? I think this is a three-way grafted tree. I'm so excited to have my fruit trees planted. I did opt to not get the apple tree, but I do already have an apple tree on the other side of my fence, and we're going to take a closer look at that a little bit later. We're going to come this way. There has been a lot of renovation happening in this garden pretty much daily. I did about 7 hours of gardening yesterday. My body is very sore. This here is definitely a work in progress, and this is what I said was going to be my sunflower garden, and it might still be a sunflower garden, but I've sort of repurposed this section to be called the flower garden, just flowers in general. I have put a whole mismatched array of flowers in here from my pots. This is some kind of thyme. It's said there was a label in my vegetable garden. This was here and I transplanted it. It said this was lemon thyme, and it might be. It does have a lemon It absolutely is thyme, and it is lemony. It's so different than lemon thyme I had in my last property. It doesn't look at all similar. The one I had before was ground cover, and this is upright, so very different. I love the foliage on this thyme. It's more of an upright lemon thyme. So beautiful. And then I put a whole bunch of snapdragons. These were ones I took out of my old garden before I left. Some of them were already in containers, and I transplanted them into this flower garden. Most of them are white, and then I have a few other random plants here and there. This is some lavender. These are the only plants I purchased for this garden. This is Nepeta. I always wanted Nepeta in my last garden, and now I have it. And here, this messy looking plant, we've got one here and one on the other side. These are peonies that were in this garden, and I moved them around, put them in this flower area. Have no idea what color they are, but I'm sure they'll be beautiful. And then I have another Nepeta, a rose cutting from my last garden that is rooted. This actually I did purchase. This is a lilac, and it will get pretty tall, probably 8 to 10 feet tall, but we're going to keep it pruned. And it gets dark purple flowers. And over here we have my roses. This rose here was originally on this property in the area that I'm calling the rock garden outside the fence. I transplanted it, and here it is, and it did have its tag on it. I can't remember what it is, but if I still have the tag, I'll pop the name on the screen. And it actually gets yellow and orange shades in the flowers. Super beautiful. And then I have beside it, I believe this is my white Mayland rose from my last property, a cutting that is rooted. And same with this one. So I have a bunch of white roses, a multicolored rose, and there is a calendula I put in here. I don't know if it's going to stay, but it might. It might match my rose, so it may stay. A little bit of sedum, more snapdragons, and a tiny little spirea bush from my last property. Quite the mix of flowers, and there's probably more going in there. I also intend to put just a few mini dwarf sunflowers into there, maybe some standard ones, I'm not sure. And most importantly, I'm going to be planting larkspurs in a few different sections of this garden, both inside the fence and outside the fence. They have a significant meaning to me, these flowers, so they're definitely going in this garden. I don't have the seeds yet, but I'm on a mission to find them. And this is the bird bath that inspired this section of the garden, which was going to be the sunflower garden. If you saw my last video, there was quite the frog rescue that happened yesterday here. There was a frog trapped in my perimeter drain on the outside of the fence in the ditch, and my dad rescued it. It had its leg wedged and was probably in there for a long time. I put him in here, but I think he's disappeared. I think he went on his merry way, which may not be a bad thing. Maybe he was hungry and went looking for food. But I left his bird bath set up. If he wants to come back, this is definitely his home. It is open for him to come back and live. Maybe he was here overnight, I don't know, but definitely a welcome addition to the garden. Here is my California lilac. I gave it a huge pruning since you last saw it. And right beside it, I planted a burning bush. I had one of these in my last garden. This is a dwarf version, so it's going to be much smaller, but they are so striking in the fall. I thought it would be the perfect little centerpiece along the fence. And my Pyrrhus bush had a good pruning. I think you may have seen that already. There are lots of blueberries planted here. That was one of my tasks in the last couple days. This is, I think it's called verbinium. I cannot remember. I'm probably saying it wrong. And it doesn't have much going on right now. More blueberries. This was my mock orange that I transplanted from where the burning bush is. Super healthy, and I love this spot. And this is the corner that I'm most excited about. We have more blueberries, hydrangeas. The neighbors are out. I gotta be quiet. I think they might have spotted that I'm making videos. They know something's going on, so we're gonna go a little under wraps in the corner. But this corner I'm so excited about. I'm growing hydrangeas for the first time ever. This property is so weird. The soil is super moist, like 10 times more moist in this corner than the rest of the property. So if you have moisture, plant plants that love moisture, and hydrangea literally means water loving. So I have a few hydrangeas and other water loving plants here. I just love the beautiful color on these hydrangeas. There's a few different varieties. There's blueberries in here, candy tuft ground cover. I can't remember this plant's name. If I find the name of it, I'll pop it on the screen. My parents have it in the garden, and I propagated cuttings from their garden, and I have a bunch of them here. They'll be nice shrubs. And then we have unimus. They have multicolored unimus in their garden, and I'm propagating it together, which will create a really beautiful multicolored shrub all along here. So it'll be kind of a mixed colorful hedge of evergreen foliage. And there's more hydrangeas at the top. Check it out. This is the neighbor's fence that borders my property, and look at the ivy. It is so lush and beautiful. I'm going to keep it well trimmed, but not planting anything up there because the ivy will take over. You guys, there are literally hundreds of birds in this little neighborhood. Hundreds. They're what I believe to be larks, and it is just so fun to watch them. They come often to my rock garden area in the mornings, and they'll eat the little grubs from the grass and fly onto the power lines, and like huge flocks of them. They're so cute to watch. I have to show you what I've been up to with my parents the last couple days. It's a lot. This is a couple days of yard maintenance work. A ton of blackberries in here. I didn't show much in my last video, but this property actually has a bit of a blackberry problem outside the fence that we're tackling. Lots of yard waste to get rid of, and all kinds of stuff in this pile. So it's been a work in progress. Next, we're checking out what's going to be the rock garden. And this is where I've spent the most of my time in the last several days, is planting a whole bunch of plants. You can start to see the design coming through. Remember, this is going to be a mixture of rock primarily, with some prominent mulched areas that will stand out and just sort of be centerpieces in this rock garden. But the first step for me is planting the plants. You can create rock gardens in different ways, but I wanted to get these plants rooted in before winter, when we have a lot of rain and sometimes snow, to get the roots established before the hardscaping and smaller perennials go in the spring. So there's a lot of different shrubs here. This is a mock orange, nice evergreen foliage. And this is a dwarf Alberta spruce. I planted it here to mirror the other side of the rock garden. There is a bigger version of it. Well, it might be a dwarf as well, but I wanted a mirror kind of image. I like symmetry and mirrors in a garden kind of situation. My fig tree here, I did some maintenance on it. It's looking a little healthier. This is original to the property. A little spirea bush from my last garden. This is a rock rose shrub, also called potentilla. These are very drought tolerant, and that's awesome for this section of garden. It's much more dry out here. And my apple tree. I did some pruning on this apple tree and discovered it's a combination fruit tree, just like the two I left at my last property. I'm so delighted. This actually has one of my absolute favorite types of apples, red Macintosh. I am over the moon excited about that. And it also has something called, what does it say? Brie burn apple. Have no idea what that is. I don't know if there's more or if it's just two, but I'm so excited to have a combination apple tree. Such a bonus. This is a dwarf fig tree I transplanted from my last property here. Now over here is a spirea bush, which is original to this property, but I moved it from over here to the perimeter of this bed that we're creating, that I am creating, my grammar. I removed an ornamental grass, we cut down a cedar tree, we being my dad, and I planted a rock rose shrub, another one. This one is white. We have more spirea. I have pretty much a triangle in here. If you see here, and then that is spirea, and there's a spirea there in a triangular formation for visual mirroring kind of situations. And I forget what this is called, but it doesn't grow very tall. Kind of a short and stubby little cedar-like tree. And a spire. This is a smoke bush centerpiece. And some more rock roses. I cut the tour short because a different neighbor who I've already met was walking by, and they don't know I make videos. I'm pretty sure they saw what I was up to and probably thought I was being super weird. Thank you so much for joining me on Garden Tour Saturday. I hope you're having a lovely November. Get out, enjoy the fresh, crisp air if it's not snowing or raining. And we will see you soon in another video. Bye-bye.